This video, we're going to be breaking down the Red Hot Gaming $40,000 live event and a five-star matchup, as I said on the broadcast, a pay-per-view type of game. We have Henry versus Wesley. This is the semifinal matchup, and super excited to go ahead and get into this game. Now, shout out to, I think Henry and Maze and RHG all kind of came together to put on this great event. This is just becoming one of my favorite events that the community does. It's going to be hosted out there in Oklahoma by the Oklahoma esports team, and super excited to go ahead and get into this. Now, again, Wesley Henry, right? A ton of history here. This rivalry goes back, I think, back to 2022, Madden 22, when really Henry became kind of took that leap forward as, you know, one of the not just one of the best players, but the best player in the world, and then went on to have a really 2 to 3 year run that essentially is the reason why a lot of people think of Henry as the greatest Madden player of all time. I think Henry is the greatest Madden player of all time. What's really interesting about this matchup here is they fight each other in the offseason. Wesley actually is coming off of a better Madden season than Henry had. He's coming off of a Madden Bowl or a MCS playoffs quarterfinal finish in which he lost to Fancy, who ended up going on to have the best Madden season of all time. And the reason that this matchup is so interesting to me is both of these guys really had Madden seasons that, if you think back to last year was the year where Henry became the $1 million first Madden player ever to earn over $1 million in competitive Madden earnings. And the way that he did that was by beating Wesley in the Madden Bowl last year in a game that was back and forth and really ultimately came down to one big interception, really two interceptions totally, but one key interception that really flipped the entire game. And so anyways, as we come into this matchup, there's just a lot to be learned from both of these players. Henry is known, at least in my opinion, as one of, if not the best defensive players ever. His adjustments, his ability to anticipate what you're running, his just defensive skill set as a whole is really impressive. And then Wesley comes into this game being probably, at least, I think it's very safe to put Wesley in the top 5 passing offenses, top 5 offenses of all time. His offense is always one of the best, always really good, and also slightly a little unique. There's little things that he does that really nobody else does. And so there's a lot to be learned from both of these guys. So super excited. I'm going to go ahead and get into this game. And Henry is going to be in 6-1 defensively. And you don't really see this. Really, the premier meta in Madden Bowl in the MCS playoffs was dollar. We pretty much saw dollar a majority of the game, maybe 3-3-5 odd. Really didn't see 6-1 as a mainstay defense, but with all of these fast linebackers of the game right now, Henry is going to be rocking 6-1. Now, the thing is that you have to worry about in this defense is really two types of blitzes. The first one is these linebackers on the outside, potentially setting 5 or setting 6. This is my favorite way to blitz out of 6-1. And you're going to notice that Henry is going to run this even a little bit more unique than others. Henry is actually going to run the 6-1 more similar to the way that Jay Mills runs the 6-1. Now, Jay Mills is known as the creator of this defense. He actually built this defense, I want to say, back in Madden 22. And that's where he kind of made this defense popular. Anyways, that being said, the other type of pressure is his user kind of coming down in here and trying to get a defensive tackle to either loop one of these different gaps. The disadvantage to that type of blitz is obviously you've got a really good easy seam streak within this formation. Wesley is going to be in normal YF close probably 99% of this game, and going to be running some really popular route combinations. The only other thing I wanted to say before we get into this game is what changed the game for these guys. Henry is coming off of, I don't know if it'd be fair to say this, I would think that Henry might be coming off of his worst Madden season since Madden 19. right? So we've had in Madden 20, he made a finals. He made Madden Bowl. In Madden 21, he ended up winning Madden Bowl with Wesley. In Madden 22, he won Madden Bowl. In Madden 23, he lost in the finals. In Madden 24, he won Madden Bowl, right? So he's had this kind of 5-year run in which he's always been at the top. And this year, for the first time, Henry wasn't even in the MCS playoffs. He didn't even attend the Madden Bowl. He actually, I believe, only made one live event all season, and was really he missed the MCS playoffs, I believe, by one game. So I actually think he made two live. Oh no, I think he only made one. I think he only made one live event this year. And so again, you zoom out and you look at some of the factors. Why could that be? Well, the main reason I think is because Madden 25 really changed the game significantly with the addition of custom stemming routes and new hot routes on offense. And then the main one is switch stick on defense. Now, the switch stick feature really favors more offensive based players like Wesley, players like Fancy, players like Zombies. Switch stick really favors offensive players because switch stick is all about reading and reacting to the routes on the field, the patterns on the field, and essentially you can stay in very basic coverage shells if you can switch stick at a high level. So that being said, what it actually doesn't favor is the thing that Henry is really good at, and the thing that Dez is really good at, actually, which is the defensive adjustment aspect of the game. So again, just kind of an interesting shift. And as you go into this game, you have to think Wesley is actually the favorite, even though Henry has consistently beat Wesley in these type of events over his competitive history. So anyways, those are kind of the backstory, a lot of it there. And starting off here, Henry, you saw that he was doing his depth chart there. He actually lineup glitched, and he has a corner at these two linebacker positions and this linebacker position. So he has 99 speed across the board here. And he's actually, again, don't see this a lot. He's going to be running kind of a cover 2 man type of look off rip here. So using deep halves and all that. So again, go ahead and let this run and kind of get into the matchup. Again, a lot to be learned from this game. So starting out, you're going to see pretty good defense from Henry and a throwaway from Wes. Now, Wes is actually going to go to one of the best combos in the game. This is cheat flat post. You have the tight end on a flat. You have this little thing. You stem this up. It's on a streak. And essentially, this is a shallow cross concept. Now, Wesley's going to block the running back. Sometimes they'll put the running back out on a little running back streak pattern. But what I love about this offense, and this is the big thing with switch stick this year, watch how well this offense is going to do at spacing the field. Watch how Wesley's combos, you look at how this route's going to space the field super well underneath, combined with its flat. It's going to pull out any flat zones. And then this is going to stretch kind of this intermediate middle into the outside. And then you have a clear out streak on the outside if they blow coverage. So anyway, that's one of the best route combos you could actually run. Henry bagged it with basically cover 2 man, right? Cover 2 man is a really good defense. Now, I believe that Henry is actually going to be in the Patriots playbook for this defense because he has cover 2. He has some better plays within 6-1. Now, another thing that Henry is going to do, you see here, look at the shift. See how he shifts away from the running back, and he is going to be setting up some blitzing, some pressure. One of the things that when you shift away, it kind of opens up this little gap right here. And the reason why Henry is going to do this is so that he can manually press this tight end. Normally, what you would do with this defense, again, I was talking about in the beginning, is your user would stand right here, and this tight end would just basically kill you up the seams. Now what you're seeing is from Henry a manual press type of situation, and we'll see kind of how that works out for him. So again, we'll take a look here. So you see here, this is a send 6. So it appears to me like Henry's going to run more man coverage. And the other thing about this, from what we get off a rip here, is this time we're going to get a send 6. But the interesting thing is we're going to incorporate this kind of user press of the tight end, and we're going to scissor this left side so that this guy has outside leverage here. This guy has inside leverage, so if he runs a post, he has better leverage to be able to defend that route. So looks like we're going to get some send 4, and when it's send 4, it's going to be more of a coverage man look. And then when he's send 6, it's going to be that cover 0. So you see here, goes that send 6, good pass protection, honestly. And this is going to be the issue of the game right here. So you see here, what Wesley does, I believe, is he either half slides or full slides. I think he full slides here, blocks running back, and IDs here. The issue for Henry is going to be this. You just sent, this is why I personally don't like 6-1 this year. You just sent 6 people, right? All he did is block a running back. And you see here, I mean, this is just, not only is the blitz not coming in, this is a scramble, right? Anyways, once the tight end clears the manual press, Henry switch sticks. Not necessarily mad at the switch stick, but just the tight end gets on top of him. And it's a huge play for Wesley out of the gate. So again, 6-1 is a 6-1 is a little bit more of an aggressive style defense, especially though that Henry's going to run it with this man-to-man stuff. It's either going to bag you or you're going to dot it. So here kind of showing, so this is kind of the back and forth chess match, right? He's going to show the same look, but what is he going to do differently now? He's only going to send 4. So he's anticipating. So this is really, really key here. So he's anticipating that this running back is going to block. And so he actually inverts this and has this deep half coming from the right. I don't know exactly why he would do that. I would assume the reasoning is so that he can get an inside leverage here, and he can do it from this kind of like baseline almost look. So anyway, just kind of something little here that he's doing. There it is. Watch this block running back. Watch that linebacker, right? No one guards the tight end. Another little reason why I don't love this defense, because this is free. I don't love what he's doing here. Wesley misses the read, but he does take the speed out on the left side and unable to get a good animation to be able to complete it. So a lot is happening here within the first couple of things, first couple of minutes of the game. One of the other things that I wanted to just quickly hit is when you run a man-based defense this year, it is it's going to limit your ability to switch stick. Here we go, and this is literally so okay. Just kind of, this is just something little that I think is so interesting when you take a look at players that are playing at the highest level. And I was listening to, I'm trying to remember who it was, the NFL player that was talking about. I want to say that it was Ty Law, the famous cornerback for the Patriots, actually. He was talking about playing Peyton Manning, and he said the key to playing Peyton Manning basically is you have to mix up the back coverage. You have to show one look, do something else, right? And that's really what we see in Madden all the time. One of the things that Henry's doing, though, is first play, coverage, second play, pressure, third play, coverage, fourth play, pressure, right? That's what we're getting here. So again, he's going to set 6. This time, he's going to send 6, but he's going to do it from a zone look. So he mixes up the look here. So zone look. And again, this free, but, just missing the read. And why missing the read? This is the key. Why do you mix up coverages? Because when you mix up coverages, it gives you better chance. You're changing that picture, that post-snap picture. And so the quarterback, they can't get comfortable with the coverage that they're facing. If you just run the same stuff every time, then you run the risk of that. Here we're going to see a lot of coverage here from Henry. This is a send 4, and he's going to run now a cover 6 look, right? So again, the big key here is he's doing all of this, and that was actually and he didn't get his feet in. Henry is doing all of this from the same pre-snap alignment, same pre-snap look, pretty much. So that is such a critical piece of his defense. So far we've seen cover 2 man, we've seen cover 0, we've seen cover 4, we've seen cover 4 send 6, and we've seen cover 6 coverage. Here we're seeing, now Henry's going to get a justy. He's anticipating this. Got to be a blocked running back look. Another thing that Henry's going to do, which is kind of cool, is he's going to, and he's going back to that cover 2 coverage here. But now, instead of a man up here on this left side, he's going to cloud. The purpose of the cloud flat is if you have a little speed out from that slot, or a speed out, really any speed out over here, this is taken away. What I really find interesting, and I'd love to know why Henry does this, I don't understand this man up here. And the reason I don't understand this is because Wesley, it's 4th and 12. I would be shocked if he sent the running back out. When you have this look here and you can send pressure so easily, I just would be shocked if he sends. You see here, he blocks running back. So now watch this linebacker. This linebacker blitz. That must be what it is. That must be the reason that he's doing it. Let's come back and take a look here. These are just the little things that make a big difference. So again, we saw the pre-snap play art. He's manned up here. Okay, watch what happens after the snap. The running back blocks, and this is actually super fine if this is a thing. And yeah, he totally blitzes. I don't know, but he did take a step to the left, so it could be Henry set the spy, because what normally happens is if that player does that, if the running back blocks, that linebacker will go into a spy over the middle of the field. So what could be is Henry could be flicking that or clicking the right joystick in to send the spy and then make him blitz. But it appears as if he blitzes as is. So now you get a 5-man pressure, which I love that. I actually love that if that's the case. I don't know how Henry, I don't know what, must have hit circle and clicked on there. But anyway, this is the issue to me. And this is where you see here's that inside, and the whole purpose of this man up to me would be inside leverage so that he can cut this route right here. Because one of the big keys whenever you're going to run man coverage is you have to understand when you're playing an offense, it doesn't matter what defense you run, you have to understand where your vulnerabilities are. You have to understand where the strengths and weaknesses of the coverage. So this crossman, to me, the whole purpose of this would be to keep this as an inside, so you have inside leverage. Because I would believe that Henry's probably shading inside because it's a cover 2 man base. So you see here, see how he takes that step inside? What's interesting is this is like, in theory, perfect, but look, that short post cuts sharp, quickly beats the man coverage, and he's going to get inside the 10. Super big play there for Wesley. All right, so first red zone possession for Wesley. This is really where the game is won and lost. This is a super big component of the game. Probably a big reason why 6-1 was chosen as the defense here. Take a look at some of the things here that Henry's going to do. We've got a hard flat here, and take landing like table route. He loves this like inside cross man on those like posts and in routes. So interesting. Also has a vert hook over here. The purpose of this vert hook, I would assume, is to try to defend whip routes. Very popular route in the red zone here. And then also the user is crossman on the tight end. Henry would probably look to switch stick off and let this. What's really nice is when you crossman your user onto somebody and you switch stick, and that man up will pretty much take that route, that player away. So anyway, here we go for Wesley. Wesley and bunch, which is kind of interesting. He goes to spacing switch. The reason I love this spacing switch call is because this running back table route is really good against hard flats if the hard flat is on anybody but the outside corner. So that could be part of the reason why Henry called that defense. Now you have to deal with this tight end crossing over the middle of the field. As you see, Henry comes off of it. And that's why I don't love man coverage as a core strategy in switch stick era, because it's hard to switch stick off, it's hard to play off. And really right there, Wesley missed a touchdown. The drag was open. Obviously we could slow it down so it's a little clearer to us, but anywho. All right, so here Wesley gonna go to trips flex. Got a hard flat here on this left-hand side. And good defense. And that's a really good way to defend the trips tight end standard red zone route combinations, is to cross man the trips. That's been a good trips defense since Madden 23, maybe even before that. And now we're going to go to 6-1, 3rd and goal. Kind of got to get off the field here. This is a really hard down and distance to convert for Wesley. You see Henry's going to man up the running back, so if the running back runs like a wheel, he can switch stick off, and this will man the wheel. Again, Wesley blocks, and good defense gets that pressure, and that's going to be a 4th and goal. One of the things that I love watching, when I watch Henry play defense, one of the things I think he does a good job of too with his is situational defense. Situational defense in terms of like, he's not just going to run the same adjustments over and over again all the time. What he's going to do is situationally, like he knows, okay, 3rd and goal, you're from the 15. There's a couple key things that can hit. Number one, I got to watch out for this speed out or corner. I have to personally take away that kind of box area of the field. And then the only other thing that can really kill me is any kind of like running back route, which is why he crossed me on the running back. So as you see here, this is just basic cover two, send four. And the other thing that you're noticing Henry do that's really, I think, kind of, again, something to be learned is you're seeing really two types of pressure components from Henry, as Wesley is going to take us three, and we'll get to Henry on the offensive side of the ball. The two types of pressure components, really, the first one is a send four, in which Henry's not, it's just a shed defense. It's not anything more than that, really, from what I'm seeing. There's not like he's not getting a glitchy four. It's just a base rush of four, and that send four is going to be utilized whenever he's anticipating that Wesley's going to block his running back. And then we see a send five or send six off of that same pre-snap look, but now we're going to send more pressure. And so a little bit different than what we've seen from 6-1 in the past, where 6-1 is primarily that four-man disengage that I was talking about at the beginning. Henry's not running a disengage. He's running base sheds. Now, real quick, as far as this side of the ball matchup, some things to quickly discuss. First one is you're going to see Wesley in dollar. Dollar pretty much this year at where we're at in the game is going to be an engage blitz in which you send 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay, that's one pressure. The second pressure you have from dollar is a crossfire loop blitz in which you're going to send 4. The third pressure that you have, which pretty much nobody really runs anymore, I still think is actually not terrible, is a 4-man loop. This would be a loop to me. A lot of people call this a loop. I think that's a crossfire blitz, but whatever. And then the fifth or the fourth component of pressure, which you really won't see Wesley run a lot, is DB fire. He'll mix in sitting the slot corners. Okay. The main blitz you're going to see is the disengage or the crossfire. Those are the two main ones. Okay. Now, why run dollar? Dollar is the best defense for switch stick. Dollar is going to primarily be a zone defense because you're going to use switch stick. And so really the core shell you're going to get is cover 4. Okay. That's the main shell. If you can't beat this with the user in the middle, if you can't beat this coverage right here, the game's already over. This will be the main coverage Wesley will probably use. Now, the next thing that I wanted to just quickly cover is the alignment of these safeties. So normally what we see from dollar this year, if you watch Fancy run it, those safeties are going to be here. Okay. And the reason those safeties are going to be here is because they're going to defend the seam streaks a lot better. The problem is if the safeties are here, and let's say you put this safety in a deep half or a inside third, they'll backpedal so slow that a basic streak can kill it. Okay. So what Wesley does is he taps these safeties and manually moves them to this spot on the field right here. We didn't see that. And the reason why he would do that is so he can run more coverages than he would be able to vice versa. Okay. And then one other thing you're going to see here, Henry is going to be in the bunch spread nasty. This is, he's really the only one running this formation as his main offense. And the main reason why is because there's a lot of fade routes in it that are good. But this is a pretty standard smash return setup, right? We have a clear out, we have read 1, read 2, read 3, and then maybe read 4 late. So anyway, here we go. Why I call that? Because he's trying to beat cover 4. So right off rip, you're going to get the cross blitz 1, 2, 3, 4. Henry's going to block his running back to pick up the pressure. And then now we see kind of the coverage. So the coverage aspect that Wesley employs is he's going to use a hook curl from that safety. And that hook curl can sit in kind of some unique areas. He's got a hard flat here. He's got a, looks like to me, an outside third or quarter, probably a quarter, inside quarter. And then I would assume this is a deep half. It might be an outside third, but I would assume it's a deep half. This was a coverage that John Beast ran in against Fancy in his Madden Bowl matchup. And this is kind of essentially a coverage that was really popular last year in Madden Bowl, actually. Anywho, so that's kind of the coverage that you're getting here. So if you're Henry reading this, you see number one, we blocked a running back. This is what is so interesting. Henry ran 6-1, and I showed you some clips on the last drive where he sent 6 players. Wesley blocked his running back, and the blitz did not come in. Here, Henry blocks his running back. Wesley only sends 4 players, and the blitz is coming completely free up the A-gap. Why is that? Because in dollar, you have 3-4 different types of blitzes that all require 3-4 different types of pass protection. So Henry's pass protection is probably optimized for the engage blitz, but Henry or Wesley runs the cross blitz. This is kind of the back and forth of the game, and why this is why I truly believe dollar is so good. Is it's not just switch stick optimized, but you have 4 different blitzes that require different pickups, but can do them all from the same look, and they don't send as many people. So anyways, you see here, he's getting pressured. It's a good step up. Now, notice this is probably a hook curl. What Wes does to defend this combo, which is pretty good, is he's going to user this, and then he switch sticks off so that this hook curl is going to go back and defend this, and he's going to basically bite on this tight end. So you see he bites down on the tight end. At this point, the pocket kind of collapses, and he's able to get a sack early in the drive. One thing that Henry did really well there that I think is a super underrated thing is what was he doing here? A little bunch tight end. I want to talk about bunch tight end here in a minute. He went to he didn't take a big sack, like he only took like a yard. So anyway, let's just real quickly break down this combo because we can see it. So he audibles a bunch tight end. Now, I don't know for sure what playbook this is. I would assume it's Seattle playbook. It might be Buccaneers, but I think it's Seattle. So this is a really interesting concept right here that Henry's going to run. He's got a curl, he's got a whip, and then he's got a wheel. And then out here, he's got kind of the stock zig from the play whips. So he's not in a play action play. This is another big thing, because if he was in a play action play, this guy would the blitz would not work very well. The best way to pick up the crossfire blitz is to run play action. So you're going to have the threat of pressure, right, on a send 4. So as you see here, look where Wesley's standing, by the way. It's like super kind of interesting. You don't see that a lot either. Anyway, what we see here is we basically get very similar coverage. The main difference is quarter, or third, and then this is probably a cloud, right? In a formation like bunch tight end, you don't have to worry about an outside fade here to the left side. So then when you see that, they oftentimes will cloud. And then you got a hard flat, right? And the open read here is obviously the running back. So you see here, as this kind of play develops, good switch stick. Wesley's kind of focusing his efforts over here. That while you can throw that, you're not going to get a ton of yards on it. So it's not a great route. But Henry does a good job coming back to the tight end whip, and the tight end whip cooks and gets a big gain on second down. Yeah, I'm almost positive this is Seattle because he has trips tight end as well. So I think he's in Seattle, which is the same offense I believe that Kobo is running. But Henry's going to run a little more bunch spread. Kobo's going to audible around probably a little bit more. Anyway, notice again, this is such a little thing here, but what is the coverage that Henry's anticipating? He's anticipating cover 4 hard flat, cover 4 hard flat. Cover 4 hard flat's vulnerability, if you think about it, its main vulnerability is basically this area right here. Okay. So what Henry's doing is, instead of doing like the flat zig, which is pretty easily recognizable, he's doing just a stock curl right in the middle of the field. Right. And again, a lot of block running back. So here we get a block running back. Here you're going to see Henry's pass pro is going to work. The other thing that's really underrated is that these Sin 4 sheds are really good this year, which Henry kind of was showing last drive. Anyway, from Wesley, you pretty much get the same coverage, right? The major difference is just that, he's not clouding over here, and this is like a third. But in general, this is just basically cover 4 hard flat. And Henry takes what the defense gives him. Again, it's really interesting to me when you really slow down and break down the coverages and notice cover 4 hard flat, right? But it's cover 4 hard flat with switch stick, which is really valuable. Little draw here, not able to get it done. Love to see Emmitt Smith in the backfield. Best running back probably of all-time rushing leader. Second and 11. Let's see here. So you see how he goes double safety, but then he's able to kind of like manually click on these players. This route combo, I did want to talk about this. This is PA slot corner out of trips tight end. I love this play. This is like a levels concept, old school. You have a clear out streak. Sometimes you'll clear out with both of these guys, which this is a really good play for cover 4. If you clear out both these guys and you leave the play action, sometimes these guys can get over the top on the double safety. Because Wesley is tapping these guys, that's not as good of a read. So Henry goes with a stem down corner, a running back table. What this is meant to do is what the most common coverage here in trips is you're going to go quarter, vert hook, cloud. If that happens, this route will be wide open. So Henry's going to high-low this guy on the left side, and then he's going to high-low pretty much this defender or this defender in the middle and either look for this post or this little drags. I actually love this play. I wish you would. This play is really, really good. I think this is a really good concept for where the game is going right now with how the game's played. As you see here, we get the cloud. So this running back will be open here, but he mans it up. So good job by Wesley manning that up to take that away. Really underrated adjustment there from him. And then now at this point, we see, okay, the switch stick here, he actually lurks down, and that's why you put that streak there. That could be a touchdown. But it's a tight window, and the other thing is you still have to worry about this guy robbing over the top. So what Henry's going to do is he's just going to take this nice little check down, take that drag. And again, that's an example of a really good play for switch stick because it's a combo that pretty much attacks the entire field, but it does so in a way that provides you with a clear out option in case to kind of prevent them from over pursuing. All right, little run play there from Henry, and this is kind of the opening drive where you're just seeing some of the basic concepts of the game and how it's going to be laid out. You see, looks like there was that kind of cover 3 type coverage again, and big sack there. Let's take a look at that play real quick because it looks like he manned up. So we're going to see here. There's that Sun 4. Again, Henry's not really done, like it's kind of surprising. This blitz right here is the much easier one to pick up. And here you're going to get almost stock cover 2. Is that? I don't know what that is. It looks like a match from a vert hook. That's what that looks like. I don't know what that. I don't know what he did there. It's like kind of a match. I think he just ran basic match. Actually, he ran some type of match there. I don't know what type, but that was definitely match in some way. One of the other things you'll see with Dollar that really significantly helped Dollar is they added match coverage into it better. Oh, I wanted to highlight this real quick. Take a look at this route that Henry's going to do to the running back. This is a really, really cool route. So it's a new hot route in the game, and it's like a running back post, right? That'll kind of hit right here. What Henry does is he stems it, and this is why stemming was a great addition to the game. He stems it, and this route's now going to run like this, and it'll never really cut inside because he's going to stem it all the way up to the end zone. But what's really cool about it is it runs faster than like a running back streak. So it kind of really just pops into that spot. And so you'll see Henry also loves this a lot out of this formation, this idea of like a little wheel, and then this to kind of attack really this left side seam area. And then on the right side here, he's got kind of a standard verticals play. So you see here, Wesley goes kind of back to that cover three, uses a hard flat. And look at this is technically a hook curl. I think Wes has his hooks on 10, is what I think is going on, and so that's not gonna defend that. And you see Wes or Henry just take a real easy when you can throw stuff like that. To me, it makes offense so much more easy because that's probably like literally like his first read. So he's able just to boom, wide open, throw it right, catch, turn, throw. If you can catch, turn, throw like that, it really does make offense a lot easier because you're not having to really make reads under pressure. It doesn't matter what the pressure is. It doesn't matter what the coverage is. It's just simple, right? So, anywho, red zone possession for Henry. One of the other underrated things about both of their first drives is both first drives, and I think this is super important when you're playing Madden. You have to make them work up and down the field, right? Here you go. Good little kind of standard red zone combo we've seen before. You have to make them work up and down the field, and you really want to try. The hardest place to score is where Henry's at. This 12, 10-yard line, 10-yard line and in, really. It's really hard to score here. And so you saw what Henry was able to do. He's able to hold Wesley to 3. It's really at its like truest sense, the game is all about getting sevens in the red zone, getting stops in the red zone. Really, those are super key. Assuming you're playing a really good player that's not going to beat themselves by making bad reads, this is kind of what it ultimately comes down to, either this or, a true like 3 and out or 4 and out stop. So anyway, notice Henry. I don't think Henry, I don't know. He's kind of trying to score from here. It's kind of, not going to get a first down, really. Running back, takes running back, can't break that. And it's going to bring up a 4th and 2. Now, in my opinion, it's really hard to convert this. Because, again, 4th and 2, if you think about it, the reason the red zone is so hard is because the run game isn't super powerful. And then also, you use this back line as an extra defender. That is so key. And so because of that, you really limit the amount of space, the amount of routes. There's just not a lot of routes you can really run. Really cool combo here from Henry. He goes with that out route. He's able to hit it, and he's able to. That's a huge 7. And again, that's the difference between these two games. Is this really the difference in these type of games? Is are you able to convert in the red zone, or are you able to get stops at the red zone? But it is, I think, super. Super wise of both of them. The way they're calling their coverages and the way they're playing their defense, it's going to keep the lid on, and it's going to make you have to score in that area. If you're just giving up one-play touchdowns, you never get an opportunity to use the power of the red zone, right? So I think that's a super big point just in terms of how these guys are going to match up. All right, so here we go. We have 6-1, and again, notice he's shifting away from the tight end every time, and he's standing in that gap himself. Here you're going to see kind of that cover 2 or cover 6 type show on one side, and a jet touch pass for Wes, and this is just free. And this is another thing. What's interesting is Henry actually, I guess it's not exactly the same situation, but in this tournament, Henry watched a previous game in which, and Cass commentated a previous game in which Wesley played Hexied, and Hexied gave up a jet touch pass, kind of similar to this. I believe it was the first play of the drive. The one difference is that in this case, Wes had the ball in a hash, whereas in the situation with Hexied, he didn't have the ball in the hash. And Henry couldn't believe that Hexied gave up the jet touch pass for a touchdown, and here we are, right? So Not ideal for Henry. Didn't want to give that up. Didn't shoot it right. And that's the thing. When you play Wesley, you play that formation, you know when that guy goes in motion, it's more than likely going to be that jet touch pass. And then every now and then they'll mix in the fake jet touch pass. But that's just one of those things where you gotta be able to stop that. That can't be a touchdown. Anything else but a touchdown, right? Him giving him a touchdown there is super bad. However, the one thing about him giving him a touchdown in that way is he has 345, so Henry's gonna try to clock this out and be able to use this into half scenario as an extra stop. This is another thing when you get to the highest levels of Madden. One of the other big key core components of your game is going to be how well do you manage the end of half scenarios, because you're basically trying to use halftime as an extra way to get a stop. And so you'll see that from Henry here. He's gonna try to score with very little time left on the clock. So he's still playing kind of basic offense, but once he hits about midfield, you'll see he'll probably start first down run, right? Because again, he's trying to get this clock down. Now, I'm surprised he's not chewing even more already just to get it out of the way so that he can kind of play basic offense. Here it is. Yep, first down run again. Here's a mid draw. And there's that air truck from Mike Tolbert. That's actually the team captain card. Using him at the running back position. And again, this is one of the things I was talking about in the beginning, but you have these fades on the right side, so it puts a lot of stress on the cover 4 shell. And that honestly, he actually had a touchdown, but I don't think Henry wanted to take it. I think he wanted to, because again, it's so critical that Henry scores and doesn't give West back the ball. It's literally like a free stop in terms of how it practically plays out. Here he spins out, and he is going to take a 7. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. He is going to spin out. Henry does not play on conservative. Most people in this game, they play on conservative. I believe Wes is probably playing on conservative. Henry doesn't play on conservative. He plays on balanced, primarily for the running back with the tank and the spins and stuff like that. It's risky because if you get hit, it's a fumble. But if you put tank on as many players as possible, I believe his tight end and his running back both have tank, that will limit the fumbles significantly. Here, Wes gets a really big kick return, and this is another thing to me. I've seen this way too much. I understand. So one of the reasons why do people kick the ball in this little zone here? This is kind of an underrated thing. They kick the ball in this little zone because you can't go on conservative in the kick return. Now, what Wes kind of does to counter that is he puts Saquon Barkley back there, which I'm sure he has Tank on that running back. What Tank does is it basically counters hit sticks because you're not going to fumble and you're going to get almost an automatically broken tackle. Anyway, Henry going back to that same coverage he started out with. There's a little run there. Now Wes is in that situation that Henry was just in. If Wes is able to clock this out, it basically gets him a free stop versus Henry. So if you're Wes, pretty easy clock here. This is why I didn't know. Well, I was just kind of surprised that Henry took that 7 so easy. I think it's just maybe because it's so hard to score in the red zone. When you get a 7 like that, you just take it, I guess. But anyway, had him an adjusty coverage here. Looks like he's doing a lot of cross manning. Kind of going back to that. Here we go, short side deep half. Look at that post just fry. That was a dig, I think. Yeah, this man coverage is just, there's so many things that are kind of open here. But again, the reason I was going to say that about the kickoff stuff is I've seen that way too many times. I give up so many big kick returns. I just kick it out of bounds. I understand you're trying to force a fumble, but I think you just kick it out of bounds. Here you go again. So you saw here, sent 4, now sent 6. This time, blocked running back did not pick up the send 6, and Henry was able to get the pressure in there. And again, that's super key with 6-1. 6-1 is really good if the 6-man. What makes 6-1 good, in my opinion, is when the 6-man pressure can get in against a blocked running back. It forces them to block their tight end or quick dot you, and quick dotting you isn't always the best idea. Little match coverage from Henry there. Not able to stop that tight end. Notice that Henry is on default. There's no zone drops being set. So if you see match coverage, he's going to be incorporating match principles within his defense here. Something, again, this is another little thing about Madden 25 that I will say, like, Madden 25 it finished well. It really did finish well. The best state of the game is it was probably maybe not exactly what we have right now, like with all of these abilities, because all these abilities are a little wild, but probably like the Super Bowl promo where you're able to have like all the KOs. The KOs are needed this year just because of how bad deep zone logic is in this game. But yeah, I just think, and see here, jet touch pass. Notice this time Henry switches onto that guy, able to lurk down and be able to take it away. Now the problem is if you get really aggressive on that jet touch pass, that could open up the door for the fake jet touch pass later on in the game. So kind of something to think about here. Henry also just noticed the defense. Why is Henry playing so aggressively? He's playing so aggressively here. He's sitting 6. He's blitzing everybody because he's trying to make West, and you see West is going to take a 7. He's trying to get West to do that. He's trying to basically force West to score. Why did West take a 7 there? He took a 7 there because, again, it's so hard to score in the red zone. So hard to score inside the 10-yard line that you're seeing one of the best offensive players of all time, someone that understands 100% clock management and the end of half scenario. He's willing to give Henry the ball back because he believes he can hold Henry to 3 and he gets 7. He ends up winning in that scenario. So there's just a lot of value in kind of watching how they manage that scenario. And again, noticing why they would take the 7s. For me, I can only think it's because of how hard it is to score in the red zone. And so they're going to say, okay, I'm going to take my 7 in that deal. So there you see. See, I just don't love that combo against cover 4. I get why you run it, but the problem is Henry has 2 timeouts. He kind of needs to get down the field. I'm really surprised at how little Henry runs speed outs. I feel like speed outs are super hard to defend. And a 5-yard zig, not going to get it done. 3rd and 6, going to have to burn a timeout. And yeah, this is just, you're kind of seeing why Wesley would take a 7. Because the way defense is this year, if you want to keep the lid on, you can keep the lid on. That's what is interesting. So you see it's just straight cover 4, maybe a cloud. That's why I'd like to see a speed out. Now you're in a situation, 4th and 6. He kind of needs to punt this. But he can't really punt it because West has 3 timeouts, so he has to go for it. Because if he punts it, he basically gives West a really good chance of getting 3. And Henry believes if he gets stopped here, he can still hold him to 3 anyway. That's why he's going to go for it. I feel like this was a pretty bad sequence of plays, just in terms of not being able to get it done. But he's got that deep out, and really it's that right there. I mean, you see here just that simple shed. And that's a huge stop for Wes. That's a massive, massive stop for Wes. I actually love the route combo, by the way, though. If you take a look here, I was talking about this. You need to run more out routes because why? Because you're getting cover 4 a majority of the game. So this little wheel makes it so that this outside quarter, Wesley can't switch stick onto him. So this right at this point, it looks like a streak. This is way better than a corner route, in my opinion. Deep out routes are way better than corner routes right now. Because of switch stick, watch how he runs. Still runs super sharp and still kind of attacks over that hard flat in that little intermediate area. But not able to hit it because of the pressure. What's interesting is Henry's running a defense where he's sending 6 people and we're talking about the dollar pressure, right? So here, just standard cover 2. Good defense and good scramble. And there we go. So about 12 seconds here. So not a ton of time for Wes. He's going to basically get 2 or maybe 3 red end zone shots. And then it's going to be kick your 3. But if he goes in half 20-14, that's a significant, that's really good. For how these end of half scenarios went, him being 20-16 is probably best case scenario for him. Because Henry does get ball out of half. This is another reason why this end of half scenario is so important. There you see there's a big sack, and now 2nd and 21. And you're seeing Henry's getting the sheds. It's getting, pretty good sheds. I would assume these hook zones are set to defend the sticks, or at least farther back. So you should see these hook zones drop into the seam. Henry's gonna send 5 here. Then he flips off, doesn't get it. And an intentional, kind of a big deal, but not really, because this year's game, you can just kick from super far back, and Justin Tucker is going to be able to put 20 on the board. All right, so that's going to do it for the first half, and we're going to be on to the second half, I believe, where there's Man Fancy with the ring, and Henry's going to be starting with the ball. Here we go. So this is where it's going to come down to the wire here. Starting at the third quarter. And a little run play, outside zone. Loves to use that Tolbert. And again, you're noticing the trucking. You're also noticing him lighting up. That's because he's probably got the combination of bulldozer and tank on that running back. Really effective combination. Also, Henry has, as you saw, a little picture of his audibles there, outside zone, inside zone combination in there. Loves going to that curl play. Yeah, that's the problem with crossing routes this year, man. You really have not seen, I have yet to see a top-level offense use deep crossing routes consistently as a main route, and it's primarily because of what you just saw. They just get open too late in the play. It's a hard read. It's a switch stick, very switch stickable route, and it's just a hard read to be able to make. And you're seeing... Here we go. He's going back to that out route on the right side. I would love to see this get open. I love this combo right here. So again, this out route to the right is kind of the new corner route to me. It's about 15, 20 yards, and you're going to attack here. The reason that is good is because at this point, it looks like a seam string. It cuts so fast, and you see there, heel user's up, so we take tight end drag. He just high-load that flat defender really nicely, and he's able to get a good read. One of the things that I keep coming back to in... just kind of like learning Madden, teaching Madden, been teaching Madden for a really long time, been trying to get better for even longer, is this principle just that at its core, Madden is all about high-low reads, high-low reads, high-low reads. This is something that Jay Wall said back when he was the best in the world in Madden 20 and Madden 21. Talked about high-low reads. Madden comes down to being able to make those high-low reads, high-low in certain defenders. And you're seeing now Henry's putting a lot more of that out here, high-lowing that flat defender on the left. Going to go back to that same play. Would have loved to see that tight end drag. There we go. Tight end drag, running back Texas. Love that backside combo. Out route now. And you see how nice that gets into a spot that's very difficult to switch stick, right? You can switch stick it, but if you switch stick it, you're running the risk of giving up that touchdown to that outside fade. This is really why Henry's running these plays from bunch, is having that outside fade really makes it harder to play cover 4. Nice little table route. There you see there's that bulldozer. You see him broke 3 tackles there with that bulldozer tank combination. Make it advantaged in maybe 5 yards. Let's see here. So you see here's that fade on the left side, seam streak, and then just a simple shallow cross concept. Love that play. That's going to bring up another red zone situation for Henry. Now, again, Henry's actually been playing really good offense on this drive, been moving the ball well, doing exactly what he needs to do in the situation. Because Henry kind of needs 7 here with the way this game has kind of gone. Needs 7, and, this is a red zone. But again, the thing that's really interesting is he's going to be forced to score inside the 10. The way Wesley's playing defense, he's not doing anything super complicated. He's going to force Henry to have to score inside the 10-yard line, which is the hardest place on the field to score. This is really the core defensive strategy that you've seen all year. Is this here on this right? You're going to get a wheel and post. This is going to manipulate a cloud. And great read from Henry, a little underneath mesh concept. Able to get a 7, and that's a huge drive out of half. And now we shift to Henry trying to get a stop. Right here, if you're Henry, what you would really like to have happen is for Wesley to have a longer drive and score 3, and then you get the ball, be able to go down, clock it out, and win the game. Could be a little early for that, but we'll kind of see how this goes. You're kind of just playing basic defense here. Little rotational cover three cloud type of coverage. And you'll see there's that post, good defense. And it's just the late stuff. It's the out of pocket stuff. And that's again, that's 6-1 not getting pressure. That's 6-1 not keeping the quarterback in the pocket. You know, Wesley's able to get out of the pocket, buy time, and then just basically patterns develop out, it's out of pocket. And so you'll see Henry go 6-man pressure here to not only keep the quarterback in the pocket, and good defense. Still kind of got out, but didn't help him much. One of the other reasons why sending heavy pressure is helpful is because normally when you send 6, it's harder for them to escape the pocket. This is why a lot of NFL defensive coordinators, they employ kind of that send 6 mentality, send heavy blitz mentality against players like Lamar Jackson when their scrambling ability is so key. And you see, that manually bumping of the tight end is really removing him from the pattern. Like, he's not really effective, honestly. Here's send 6 situation. Good read. And this was that combo we talked about earlier. Very first play of the game, I talked about it. You're going to see return route. This was the combo that literally Fancy just exploited in the Madden Bowl. That right there. Why this is good? Because you're trying to manually bump this tight end. Let me just put him on a flat. Now you have to run out there with your user. So watch Henry's user. He has to run to the flat. Okay, he can't. So he's stuck here. And then we just know that's going to quick man. And it does quick man. Now, Henry or Wesley is getting screamed at. But that route came open just in time. So again, another big conversion for Wes. We get a 1st 10 scenario. Now, this audible right here, I was waiting for him to do this all game. What's really good about this audible is it has a little bubble in it. That's a really good bubble screen. We'll see if he goes to it here. No, he's just going to pass. He's going to go to the bubble pass play. I don't love that. You got blitz. The problem with that play is it just doesn't develop fast enough, and you're getting... I think he was... and that's where Henry... Again, the back and forth, just breaking tendency. They talk about in the NFL, this is kind of like a constraint, the idea of constraint plays, have plays that break tendency. The reason why is because, as you saw right there, I think Wesley was expecting Henry to only send 4. He sent 6, got the heavy pressure, 2nd and 10. Now he's going to be able to drop back, send 4, pass, and send 6. This 2-man under, when he runs the straight 2-man under, the straight 2-man under just cages. It's been a couple times where he's ran it, and it's just been really tough. Now you're in the 3rd and 10. You should see, is this stock match? I think this might be stock cover 4 quarters here with the manual bump. It is stock match. Good switch stick off. And this is why I hate match coverage, by the way. Look at this. All right, so this is stock match coverage. This quarter flat defender is supposed to defend this crosser. But because he presses this guy so good, actually, watch how far he carries him down the vertical. He carries him, 10 yards. I don't think Henry manned that up. He might have. But anyway, this is just, that's just free. That's just free. And that's what I see against match coverage a lot is those quarter flats, they can't defend drags. They fundamentally can't defend a drag route. And to run match coverage, you have to have quarter flats or seam flats on the field. If you don't, it doesn't match. And that's why match coverage is just, to me, hard to run because it can't stop a drag. Which is obviously one of the most common routes. All right, it's going to take it to the 4th. Been a super fun game so far. A lot of things going on. Here you go again. Send 6 situation for Henry. 2nd and 12. I don't love the send 6 here. Yeah, he's going to coverage out. All right, good. So I think West must have ran the ball. And there's that pose. See, you just can't. You can't give that up. You can. It's not terrible that Henry gave that up, I guess, but it's just that just feels such a... You got him on a 2nd and 12. You want to get it because, kind of similar to real NFL. you want to get them on like a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 15. That's way harder to convert than like a 3rd and 1 or 2. Anyway, here. So West taking some clock here. There's that speed out I was talking about. Finally see it. Get a nice speed out on the right. And this honestly worked out for Wes. He's going to score with enough time. Because the key here for Wes is to score with enough time that Henry can't clock you out of the game. You really want to score before 4 minutes. Once you start getting down to like the 3-minute mark, that's where you can kind of, if you want to clock it, you can. Also, him getting 7 is key, and he's able to get 7 here. And now this is going to bring up a 2-point conversion for Wes. Him getting 7 is so key because now, again, it kind of comes back around. We talked about how hard it is to score inside the 5-yard line. So Wes is now able to play defense in a way that, right here, all Henry can do is tie the game. He might be able to take a 1-point lead, but what this does, this has really worked out well for Wes because he's going to be able to, even if Henry goes down and scores, Wes is in a really good position to be able to clock the game out and kick a field goal. Getting into field goal range is literally getting to like midfield at this point in the year. It's not hard at all to get 3. So, a lot going on. In terms of the end of game management. Really, the game comes down to assuming you don't make bad reads, assuming you have good pass pro, right? Assuming some of those things are true. And that's more just knowledge, which is what we have in our school community, right? The knowledge you need to know what you need to know. The real big moments of Madden come down to end of half scenarios, red zone, and then typically execution, of course, right? But the main big time deciding factors when you have 2 highly knowledgeable, skilled players is going to be the red zone, the end of half scenarios, and then a little bit of fluke, obviously in a Madden game. Probably always going to be some level of fluke that you have to kind of account for. Great spin move by Henry. Man, these spin moves, I think he must have some. He's got something on Watson. I just don't know what it is. But it might just be spin cycle, but he's probably got it for free. And that's a big penalty. That's the second time Henry's done that, where he's stepped up and then he's, basically cross line scrimmage and it's negated a good play. I love that speed out right there. That speed out's so good. But again, 3rd and 15, that's why I was talking about why because 3rd and 15 typically is going to lead you to a 4th and 6, 4th and 7. 4th and 6 and 4th and 7 is super hard to convert. So we'll see what Henry goes to. This is the biggest play of the game by far. The problem is when you step up like that, you also is down. He's gone to this play way too much. And he's going to be able to hit it right at a mid-zone KO. All right. So good read by Henry there. That play's just always been kind of tight windows, but it's basically, it is basically PA slot corner in terms of how it's being ran. He really likes his PA slot corner play. I do too. I think it's a good play. It's a good combo. It's hard to use her. Right there. Just got screamed at again. Again, play action plays. Why call so many play action? Because it helps pick up the blitz. Just didn't pick up that blitz. Wesley also is pretty much running that crossfire blitz majority of the game. I love this combo right here. A little wheel zig. That's a wheel for a touchdown. Corner route for a touchdown. Great read. And this is what I was talking about with the trips. So he leaves this corner on default depth. Wesley was manning up this running back, right? So here you see, I don't know if he manned it up. I think he just carries him. But this is a cloud flat. If this is a soft squat and he doesn't have zone drops, it's probably matching to this. But this corner route just gets right over that cloud. And a great throw by Henry. Really a great combo. He had a touchdown on 2 sides of the field. That's one of the most... I don't know why that combo from trips tight end is not ran more frequently. Because that combo is super effective. Now, what Henry's going to do here is he's going to go for 2. The reason he's going to go for 2 is because he can only onside if he is losing the game. So either A, he gets the 2-point conversion and he's winning the game, or B, he gets stopped and then he can onside kick. So here, great play by Wes, able to take away that slant. He gets stopped. So now this honestly is probably what Henry wanted. Henry wanted an onside kick for two reasons. Number one, in this year's game, onside kicks, you get them a lot more than you ever have before. Probably like 40% of the time. And then the other thing is, because he onsides here, it makes it a lot harder for Wesley to clock the game out. And there you see, Henry's going to be able to get the onside kick. You see Wesley's facial expression. You see Henry's facial expression there. And Wesley probably a little frustrated by that because now Henry, all you have to do is clock the game out and kick three, right? All you have to do is clock this game out, you kick three, and the game's over. The thing that's interesting is you can kick three from where he's at on the field. Like you can literally probably you could make a field goal from right here. Pretty much guaranteed because because kickers are like 99 kick power. So he could totally kick a field goal from where he's at on the field right now. Obviously, he has to take Wesley's timeouts. So 3rd and 5, boom. The problem is, and this is where, again, this is why it's so these little end of game scenarios. Because Henry is down 1, if he kicks a field goal, good read. Wow, I did not. If Henry kicks a field goal, he only wins by 2. He only leads by 2. So Wesley can then go kick a field goal and win the game. So, again, I talked about how easy it is to get in a field goal range. So what Henry really needs to do is kick a field goal with no time left. But to do that, he's got to get at least 2 more first downs. So that's kind of some of the dynamics at play here. It's going to go down to this wide zone. It's a really good run. And, there it is. That's perfect. That's exactly what you wanted. Now, what Henry wanted there was 2nd and 1, because on 2nd and 1, you get a couple chances to get that first down. You're able to take more timeouts. If I'm Henry, I go right back to wide zone. He is going to go back to wide zone here. This time he's going to run to the right side. And it's not going to work. That's actually huge for Wes. So now Wes has 1 timeout. Henry can only take, I want to say, 30 seconds. So Henry needs 1 more first down to completely win this, completely finish this off. So he's going to go to this play, go back to that seam play. West doing the engage D, and the running back catches that. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 4. And so as you see here, like he needs 1 more first down. This is the play of the game. If he gets the first down, he wins the game. If he doesn't get the first down, he probably loses the game because West is going to be able to go down and get points because West only needs 3. Bunch tight end. And we're going to go back to that whips play. Again, you've got to... All right, play the game, boys. So take a look at Wesley's coverage. Stop right there. So we got hard flat. I don't know what this is. I would assume it's a 3 rec, but it's over underneath. But it's basically everybody stand here, right? And then you have 2 deep zones for the seam streaks. Here, watch West switch stick onto the inside quarter and run him because he's got to go take that because that's a touchdown. And Henry just missed it. That's just, you can't fit that in that window with so many KOs. There it is. And Wesley going to be able to run it back right into field goal range. Henry does have 3 timeouts. So it's kind of similar situation that Henry was just in. But that's a huge turnover from Henry. The difference being Wesley is leading. He's winning the game. So if you're Wesley here, taking 3 makes it a 4-point game, which means Henry has to score a touchdown. So taking 3 is not as big of a deal as long as you take his timeouts. Ideally, you want to get a first down and win the game. So this is where you're going to see jet touch pass. This is where you're going to see the fake jet touch pass come into play. These are moments where they'll use that. You'll see here, there's the jet touch pass. Goes up, gets about 3. Also, Wes is doing this with Randy Moss, and I believe Randy Moss has human joystick. So he's a little better for the jet touch pass because of that ability. And he has Calvin, and I don't know who number 2 is. I don't know who is number 2. It's a big sack from Henry. Where it gets kind of tricky is you're kind of you when you get in these situations, it's very easy to call your plays a lot differently. And I think that also plays a factor here, right? We saw West dot this defense up most of the game. And then in these situations, you see you don't want to run out of bounds. 4th and 8. Got to take your 3 here, I would think. Yeah. He's going to take his 3. And this is going to force Henry to have to score a touchdown. So Henry still has a shot here. But he has to score. And in this year's game, the runoff is like really bad. I believe it's 20 seconds when you go no huddle to the line of scrimmage. And so the runoff is so bad in this year's game, it's super hard to score in this situation. He's going to go to a Kobo combo, deep corner with a curl. And that deep corner will bomb cover 4 if he has time. Has to take a middle of the field. And Wesley's going to be playing defense in a way that forces him to have to take the middle of the field. Again, this is where these situational football in a game scenarios, what's your defense in this situation, right? Heavy sideline defense, force middle of the field throws. Because if Henry's able to go out of bounds, he's able to take the time. So we're using this out of bounds as an extra layer of defense. We're using the fact that if you throw in the middle, you're going to have to take a lot more clock. That makes him throw in the middle again, makes him take more clock. Notice how much clock runs off. It goes from 40 seconds to 30. So it looks like it's a 10-second runoff. I thought it was 20 for some reason. It looks like it's a 10-second runoff once you're under 2 minutes, I guess. Anywho. And you see here we got the curl on the outside. We got the deep corner. Still just going to the same play again and again and again. The double team here. Blitz. It's got the corner. Good switch. And that's going to do it. Obviously, Wesley knows that's coming. Henry, I think, ran that 3 times in a row. Trying to hit that one big play. Wasn't able to do it. Tough scenario, honestly. I would like to see him take more speed outs and stuff. But I mean, that's actually really a defense by West with the clouds. But anyway, there it is, boys. Henry versus Wesley, Madden 25 edition. One of the best games of the year. One of the best games of the year. A lot can be learned from this game. And just want to thank you guys for watching. If you're looking to take your Madden game to the next level, join our school community. That's where you can get the most amount of knowledge possible. And it's where we put everything that we know about the game into one little place for you. $10 to sign up. The link is in the description below.